Hi guys, Crawlister here with another Pac-Man long play. In this video, I will be playing Pac-Motos in Pac-Man Museum Plus. Pac-Motos was originally a part of Namco Museum Remix and Namco Museum Megamix on the Nintendo Wii. I never played that compilation. I wish I did. It's a bit late now. What you might not know about Pac-Motos is that it's literally a pack-and-roll rendition of Motos Arrangement from a Japan-only Namco Museum on the PlayStation Portable, that being a follow-up to Namco Museum Battle Collection. More about that in a minute. In Pac-Motos, just like with Motos, the 1985 arcade game, your objective is to bash all of the bugs off of the base and be the last one standing, like this. These tickets with the Pac-Man sprite on them are your power parts, and some enemies like the spider and the pupae here still do formation attacks. And if you're not quick to hit everyone off, the shooting stars will come, like with the original game. These will break holes in the base. We got firebugs on this stage, and the pink tickets are your jump parts. Some enemies, like the firebugs, are a lot easier to deal with in this game than they were in the original arcade game. Just a quality of life improvement in accordance with being on a game console, I guess. About Namco Museum Battle Collection, the original Japanese product only had 4 arcade games, those being Pac-Man, Galaga, Dig Dug, and New Rally X, along with their new arrangement variants. For the localization of the game, they just decided to throw in a bunch of different arcade games by Namco in the international version to make a decently profitable compilation that people would be willing to buy. This ultimately resulted in the sequel being Japan only, and the Japan-only Namco Museum Battle Collection's follow-up had a different version of Pac-Man Arrangement that referenced some other Namco games and a Motos Arrangement, along with some other arcade games, some of which that weren't in the International Battle Collection, I believe. Pac-Motos is literally a pack-and-roll version of Motos Arrangement. I've seen the game before on YouTube, and they're literally exactly the same game. So, a little bit of info for you. You got beacons, which you can hit off for 3,000 extra points, and this stage has a Nabicon, which shoots out red pupae. The Nabicon on stage 1-6 cannot be destroyed, even if you use power parts. At the end of each world is a boss. We're gonna use a jump part to go up against this boss to make it easier. You can jump over the legs like this. Just be careful of where you land, because the regular tires will crack and then break open. Upon landing, they will also be damaged by the bombs that the boss sends out as well. If holes are broken, they will regenerate after a while in the boss stages. Some parts of the floor, as you can see, are uncrackable, so try to land on those. If you want to make the boss even easier, you can also equip some power parts, and that'll increase the amount of damage you'll inflict on them. I feel like the graphics were slightly downgraded in Pac-Man Museum Plus, at least in the Switch version, compared to the original Wii version, and the boss's explosions also lag a bit here in Pac-Man Museum Plus on the Switch as well. So, Just keep that in mind. Alright, so we're done with Castle Pack. Now we're in the Gyro Jungle. The booster pads will force you to go in the direction that the arrows are facing in, as you see here. Also note that if you're going for a top score, you specifically have to bash the enemies and beacons off, and you have to do it before the clear notice. That black pupa just got hit off by a billiards ball. Some stages also have billiards balls, what look like, that you can hit off for some points as well, like beacons. That white ticket you see is a charge part, which I'll explain later on. The booster pads facing outward make this stage a little intimidating, for both you and the fire bees. As you would expect from a sequel of Motos, Pac-Motos does have quite a lot of quality of life improvements. The indigo-colored pupae are supposed to be black pupae, according to Motos Arrangement. The beetles are a bit easier to deal with, as you can see. This stage is a little bit tricky. You have to deal with beetles in a closed area. Using the jump part trick to break some holes in the base will help on some stages. Just be careful of where you land. Never mind the one stock loss. You have 3 stocks at the start of every stage that reset as you go to a new stage. And the enemies will not reset after you lose a stock, just like with the original Motos. So if you lose a stock, simply try again. I'm trying to use the jump part trick to break holes in the base so I can lure that beetle off, since the space is so closed in. Alright, boss. For this boss, you need to dash into the legs that it has to stun it. By bumping the legs, the yellow lights will change to red and then blue. And the boss will fall down once you hit both of them. Ram into them while you can to damage them. It'll park on its own every so often and spew out some bombs, so be careful of those. If you use a charged part against the legs, you can knock them down even faster. Just be careful if you're in control. You can use power parts to inflict more damage on the boss if you wish. Alright, next up, Sweet Land. The backdrops for the worlds in this game are directly from Pac-N-Roll, specifically Pac-N-Roll Remix, also from the Namco Museum Remix, which is also in Pac-Man Museum Plus, by the way. Pretty fun game. The larger blue and green spotted balls on this stage are Megas and Gigas, respectively. I think the blue ones are the Mega and the green ones are the Giga, if I remember from the Motos Arrangement long play that I watched before. Charge parts are useful here. Press and hold the charge button, which would be B, I think, in the Switch version, to hold the charge, and release it to dash into an enemy. The longer you hold the charge, and the more charge parts you have equipped at once, the longer the enemies will stay stunned. This is especially useful on stages like this, where the base will tilt, forcing them over the edge helplessly. While first holding a charge, though, your weight will be significantly reduced for a brief moment, and that'll make you more susceptible to getting hit off the base by the enemies, so keep well away from them while holding a charge. You should also charge into enemies without holding any directional controls, as it might make the attack fail, or look like it failed. Polars aren't really a threat at all. There's my favorite, sarcasm intended, enemy in the game, ladybugs. I explained how annoyingly difficult it is to deal with ladybugs in my original Motos video. And while they're not nearly as bad to deal with in Pac-Motos, I still hate them. Here's a pretty cool idea for a stage. You just got fire beams in a half-locked grid. And there's a trap door in the middle that'll open every so often and force those over and under. I recommend using a jump part for this stage. You can do the jump part trick and break holes in the base if you want to get rid of the fire beats faster. Sweetland's boss is a more difficult version of Castle Pac's boss. You can have more than one jump part in Pac-Motos. And if you have more than one jump part equipped, you can in fact glide if you hold the button down while jumping, based on how many jump parts you have equipped at once. Memorize the movement of the bosses and jump as soon as they start to rotate the legs. Then around here, this boss will do a spinning attack. Keep your distance while this happens. So now we go to the Flaming Fortress. We got ladybugs of any enemy in this stage. I should have entered with the jump part, because I usually do the jump part trick here to knock the ladybugs through a hole I make while the base tilts, because the tilting base kind of dictates your own movement as well. However, I still beat the stage in the recording without falling, so it was fine. Use charge parts to take out the gigas with the base tilting here. This stage is a bit tough. You got beetles and a lot of pupae here. Using a charge part and stunning enemies will help. This gigantic red spotted enemy, which I gave my own name, the Terra, can be quite frightening. However, this base tilts. You should see what Terras look like in Motos Arrangement, the original game. We just got some tutorials and pupae and randomly placed dash columns. And the shooting stars also come very early here. We got a bunch of firebugs and a stage where you're forced to go a lane of dash pads on both sides and the base tilts. That can make this stage pretty difficult. Flaming Fortress's boss is a more difficult version of Gyro Jungle's boss. You got more legs you gotta knock down at once for this one, along with some additional attacks that the previous version of the boss couldn't do. It can be very difficult to notice this boss. That's also why I put on some power parts, so I can damage it slightly faster. Your distance here because the spinning motion that it does will force the base to tilt, which can dictate the movement if you're not careful. Massive charge attack fail. More hit will do her away. Alright, one world left to go. Enemies are also more difficult to bash off of the space base while they're doing a formation attack. Like the red pupae and the spider here kinda do. There are also switches that'll cause some tiles to detonate if you walk over them. In order to get the power-ups on this stage, you need to have jump parts equipped and the glide to get across to where they are, being careful not to flip the switch to detonate the tiles that they're on. The billiards balls can also make it kind of aggravating to hit the maggots off. We got 5 Gigas and a Nabicon on this stage. We're gonna use charge parts since the base tilts, and the Nabicon on this stage can be destroyed if you ram it enough with enough power parts on it. See how it shakes if you hit it? Like they would in the original game if they could be destroyed. Nabicons also shoot red pupae instead of blue pupae in this game for some reason. On this stage, we have a bunch of beetles that do formation attacks. Charge parts are strongly recommended here. We got Gigas and Beetles, along with some billiards balls, on a very small stage. That's not convenient at all. We got a couple of Terras on this stage, and the base doesn't tilt. So make sure to have power and charge parts on to deal with that. This, we move on to the final boss. This boss combines elements of the previous bosses, and we're gonna go with a full loadout on this one. Dashing into the middle of the boss enough will drop it down for a little bit and allow you to damage it. Just be careful of its attack where it spews out bombs. it would be unwise to go in the narrow corner where it lands. That seems to be where the bombs come out, usually. Unless that was just me being very rude. It also has an attack where it generates shooting stars, which will break a bunch of holes in the base in the sensitive spots. Then once you're done with that part of the fight, it gets worse. The boss will spin around like madness and spew out a bunch of bombs, breaking a lot of holes in the base. You can destroy the boss by ramming it enough and whittling down its health down to 0, or by breaking a big chunk of holes in the sensitive spot of the base and hitting it off, which can be hard. I'm doing it the patient way. I couldn't quite see him there. And with that, Master Opponent. I legitimately beat the boss without losing any stocks. If you hear that light fanfare play at the end of the clear message, it means you beat that stage's record. Try to get a high score and a fast clear speed on every stage so that you get a gold Motos sprite on the sides of your records on every single stage. If you want to try to do that, which can be good for a bragging right, remember that you have to hit the enemies and bonus items off the base directly yourself in order to get the points off of them, which on some stages can be pretty hard to do. Power-ups obviously helps if you're trying to go for those. I really liked the original arcade Motos more than ever now that it's on Arcade Archives, and I really like Pac-Motos as well. And with the original Pac-Man being the first video I ever uploaded, and Motos being the second video I ever uploaded, Pac-Motos seemed extremely fitting for my channel. I still have some more Namco Arcade long plays to do, along with some games in this compilation, so stay tuned for those if you're interested in this franchise, as well as Mega Man and Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, or some older games by Nintendo. Consider subscribing if you like those games. I am Colster, the Master Opponent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.